Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Speaking Nerd Podcast, the place to talk about all things comics, movies, TV, video games, and everything nerdy. Um, this week it's a little different. AJ's not here; he's out of town. Swifty's not here; he's leaving for his grandparents. He's going to be house sitting for them for a little while. So it's just going to be me, Alter, and our friend Markel, who is our guest today. And if you saw the live stream that he and I did earlier this week on Wednesday, which I'll put up somewhere in the video, but yeah, so we're having our friend Markel with us, and we're going to be talking about Miles Morales because I know that Markel loves Miles. So
Yeah, that's a fact. It
yeah,
really is a fact.
yeah. Ever since I've met you, that was the thing
And I
that's
think I think that ever since when I was like 14, 15 when you met me, and all I talked about was Miles.
yeah, you really wanted to be Miles, and like you said you would audition for him if you got the chance, and you were making a fan project. Um,
Which I still am kind of working on the side, just write the whole thing on my
right,
own.
right. Um, yeah, that was a whole lot of fun, and then uh, so yeah, we're just gonna be going over Miles as a character, his origins, his legacy so far, I guess we can call it, and just our general thoughts on all things Miles today. Um, I know that the game, like, we're gonna talk about the game at some point. We're not gonna spoil it. Um,
Yeah, we're not gonna spoil it, even though I
yeah,
played it.
yeah,
I got PS5 for one, by the way.
yeah. So me and Markel, we played the game. Alter hasn't, and I know there's probably some people watching that hasn't played it yet. So we're just gonna not really spoil anything too drastic. We might talk about just kind of general things, but we'll get
Might
to
just
it.
talk about might just talk about the future plans, really,
Yeah, yeah,
or like possible ideas of what they could do for the sequel. If they ever make
yeah.
it where leeway for like the third game, which would be for Peter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it over the course of the video, but let's take it all the way back to 2011, and the Ultimate Comics were doing relatively well.
Oh,
Uh,
the good old days.
uh, Ultimate Spider-Man was basically the top of the list. Every other Ultimate book at the time was not really that great, so, especially after Ultimatum, which kind of just fucked everything more.
Um,
And oh, you're saying something?
I was just saying that what I miss out on if I'm not too laggy.
You didn't miss much. You're good.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So 2011, Brian Michael Bendis, he's writing Ultimate Spider-Man, and I guess because he wanted to breathe new life in the series, he decided to kill off Peter Parker and decided to replace him with a new Spider-Man, a black Spider-Man, which I'm curious.
And Latino.
Yeah, yeah, I think he was half black and half Puerto Rican, if I remember.
Yep.
And
Afro Latino.
yeah, and I'm curious, what were you guys' thoughts at the time, like when they announced this? What was running through your head? Markel, you go first.
I was 5 years old. Do you think I had much of an opinion?
I was 7 years old. I didn't really read the comic. It was
Mm-hmm.
2011. I think I think yeah, I was 7 years old, or even 6 years old. So I don't think I even read the comic. But if I was to read it, I would have been so interested because at the time I was getting into the phase of watching Ninja Turtles. So we're getting into the superhero phase, going out of the being watching the kids shows
Yeah.
and the kids stuff, and going to the superhero phase at 6 to now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, if I would have read that then, I would have been so a lot more enlightened about Miles.
Oh yeah.
I read the comic now, decades later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty interested. You know, it was a very weird period for Spider-Man. Like not only was this happening, but also he was getting a reboot in the movies with the Andrew Garfield stuff, and not too long after this, they kill off the
which I do remember happening.
yeah,
That I remember.
yeah, and then not too long after this, like the main Peter Parker died, so that was a lot of angry fans out there, but yeah, I mean, I was interested. I was at the time I was around 11, 10 years old at the time, and I was pretty like internet savvy, so I was looking for any types of comics and stuff to read, and I thought about checking out Miles because it was an interesting idea, you know,
See,
passing
in my
on.
opinion, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say passing on his legacy through his death. So yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Like I said, I don't know that much because I've been kind of lacking. But what I could say is about Miles, the thing that kind of separates him from all the Spider-Man that we have now today is that he's so young to the point where like he can be determined to go and how I word it. He's so young, so he influences the new generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, he was like what 13,
Something like that. Yeah.
and then like the game, the Marvel Spider-Man game, not the game, not the newer game, because he's they if they confirmed in the both games his different ages. The Marvel Spider-Man by Insomniac with the Peter Parker,
Yeah.
he's 15 or 16
Mm-hmm.
in that one. So that means that they had to make it fit where he's a teenager
Mm-hmm.
because in the game Peter Parker's an adult. So you know it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was definitely different because if you look back at say like Ben Riley, like his time as Spider, like he was an adult, and I mean he was a clone, granted, but like he was more or less uh, adult Peter Parker, and even Miguel O'Hara, like the 2099 Spider Man, like he was an adult. It's like no other character other than Miles had taken on the mantle at such a young age, which I found interesting. So, um, but yeah, in time, his comics came out, and I gotta say, like I've read his first run, like I've read a whole bunch of issues, and to be honest, they're not that great compared to what's come in the last few years. But I mean, that's more or less just me. So I mean, Markel, you've read the comics. So what are your thoughts
I read
on?
one comic, and I think I played the game, but I read one comic, and that would be his origin comic.
Mm-hmm.
So the origin comic, I was about to read the Prowler comic, but I know I saw like audio dialogue on YouTube or something like where they showed the thing on YouTube, like the visuals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw those too. The comics are great. Some of the comics are a little iffy, but some of the comics could be great. But the thing that kind of separates from Miles being in comics to Miles being on like a TV show like Marvel, like the one that we all don't like. I don't like Marvel's the
Mm-hmm.
new Spider-Man show that's out. I don't think it's even running now, but the Marvel Spider-Man 2017, I think that's what it's called.
Right.
He was on it,
No one likes it, sir.
yeah, but I watched it just to see how it would turn out. But all of this is just all the villains as teenagers and all the characters as teenagers.
Yeah.
So it's all this, in my opinion, it's just the characters as teenagers. It's like Spectacular Spider-Man, but like the kid version. But I will say this: Miles did play a good part in it. I'm glad they brought Miles' voice actor back as him in the games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 The comics, like especially the earlier stuff. Like when you take a look at more kind of modern adaptations of it, they did a lot of things to kind of change Miles for the better, I would say, because back then, he was basically like a carbon copy of Peter Parker. He wanted to be a scientist, and you
Yeah,
know,
I was gonna say like the Ultimate comics were very iffy, basically just because he was just a Peter Parker ripoff.
yeah,
I guess for legacy characters, that's not necessarily the best thing to have.
you know,
Like Dick Grayson wasn't the same as Bruce Wayne
mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So
Well, then you gotta look at this. Then I know this episode's about Miles, but let's look at Terry McGinnis. Terry McGinnis was kind of different, but was kind of similar to Bruce Wayne as well.
Well,
So
the
yeah,
thing,
but keyword he was kind of different. You want to know what Miles wasn't? Kind of different.
that's true. I will agree. He did at points remind me of Peter Parker when at the point where they could actually make him different, which now they made him different, and that's good.
yeah, Terry, like especially in the cartoon, like he was a lot more distinct than like to Bruce Wayne. Like if you look at Miles, like I said, he
He
wanted to
had a
be a
sense of humor.
scientist. When he got his spider bite, like he carried a lot of similar traits that Peter kind of had. Like, he kind of talk in his head, like he adopted a sense of humor. Like it was just all these things that it made it kind of repetitive to read. And another thing that I felt hurt Miles at the very beginning is that he didn't really have any villains. Like they didn't really make any villains for him to fight.
You know why I think they didn't make any villains from him at the beginning? Because he was just being established, and the more his popularity would grow, that's when they would make villains for him.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they did that. I'm glad his popularity grew because then that gave a leeway for villains to be made for Miles.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
main thing I feel that developed Miles as a character was Spider-Verse, which I don't know if we're ever going to talk about the movie or even the comic for that matter. I'm
We'll
just throwing it out there.
we'll get
That's
to it.
like the main thing that changed him as a character and added his rogues gallery, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to talk about glow ups from Spider Verse, I mean, look at Prowler, like uh, like early comic book Prowler, like Ultimate Prowler was, he was an asshole, um, and when he died, he basically just, you know,
He was so an
made
asshole.
you just made Miles feel even more like shit. So, um, I think,
At least in the movie, he had like a reason why he was doing this. I think he had a reason why.
yeah,
I think it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
yeah, um, yeah. Another thing about the movie, like we'll get to it, but like when Aaron was around Miles, it felt like an actual uncle nephew relationship, other than Ultimate Prowler, where it's just like, hey, I know you got spider powers, let's use them, for evil and shit, like whatever. Like it's really dumb. But so
Saturday morning cartoon plot,
oh yeah.
basically.
Speaking of Saturday morning cartoons, I was actually going to segue into my next big kind of shift for Miles, which was, I think, you know, his major kind of bump in popularity started when he showed up on the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, played by Donald Glover,
Yeah,
which Childish Gambino.
yeah.
And honestly, I'm gonna say something about that. When that came out, I think the reason why they cast him because I think a lot of people wanted him to play Spider Man,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they still wanted to, even though he's like, how old is he? I think
In the show,
no, how old is like Donald like Charles Gambino outside of at the time?
I think he was
No,
like,
like
Donald Glover's like nearly 40.
yeah,
yeah, so that's at the time people he was in Spider Man Homecoming as Uncle Aaron,
mm-hmm.
but he didn't see Miles, but that was something at least. But the thing is with that. at the time, I know why they did that. They they wanted to put Donald Glover as Miles, and he did a good job. I'll say that he did a very good job.
Yeah, Donald Glover
This will
as
be a
Miles.
reminder for you guys to check out Donald Glover's show Atlanta. It's a great show.
Hey, yeah, it
Anyways,
is a
continue.
great show.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Donald Glover as Miles, like he was probably like had one of the best episodes out of that entire show. At least for me, because everything else surrounding that show has just been, garbage, and he was. It
I
wasn't the
mean, I
greatest, but like it was probably one of the better episodes of that whole show.
that show I would say I liked, and I still kind of like because it had like this. It kind of wanted to be like the comics, but it had its own little twist to it because it was called Ultimate Spider-Man for a reason. Peter had the same hairstyle from the comics, and he had the you had the you had the Goblin that was a Hulk monster and everything, and
Mm,
you had like everything else. They just put their own little twist on it.
yeah, yeah. Even though I don't like Ultimate Spider-Man as a whole, still a lot better than the recent Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, it's a lot better than that. I will say that for sure.
It had personality. That's one thing, and it's art. It wasn't that bland either. I don't guess.
Yeah,
Plus, it
somewhat.
had Deadpool, so there's that.
Yeah.
One thing that kind of threw me off, and it didn't really throw me off, it was like I was just shocked. I was like, I would have never thought that Drake from Drake and Josh would play Spider Man.
And he played him multiple times. Like different Spider-Man series where he played him, and then he played him. It's not in the Lego games, but he played him in like the Lego CG films.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Drake
Same
Bell.
man that sung Gucci Gang, the acoustic version.
um yeah, Drake Bell, like I gotta say, like if you watch him in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like he had some potential there as Spider-Man, but since they decided to go with a kind of lighter tone for his show, which was just nonstop fourth wall breaks and jokes, like it just
Basically,
it
make Spider Man Deadpool.
yeah,
That's what they did.
it just didn't work.
And then they had a
Well,
Deadpool. They had a
that's
Deadpool in
probably the
it.
best show that Deadpool could have showed up in.
Yeah, and they had a Deadpool in it. And I was like, wait a minute, but isn't this Spider Man type Deadpool show? So why are you adding Deadpool in it? Because Deadpool started breaking the fourth wall like how we always did. That's what threw me off as a kid a little bit because I knew what Deadpool was known for.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it as a kid. I had that Deadpool episode set on my DVR and just rewatched that.
I just watched the movie.
I watched the movie too. I watched the movie when I wasn't even allowed to watch the movie.
Anyway, getting back into this Miles discussion, I want to go over the next huge event, which was bringing Miles to the main universe. Because there was literally nothing else really to carry over from the Ultimate Comics. Um, so they brought him over during the Secret War
I
event.
think it was a wise decision overall.
Yeah. And it's because of him that kind of led to this trend of, characters like Miss Marvel and Nova, which, I mean, I like those characters, and they kind of laid the groundwork with Miles, but I gotta say, like I read a couple issues of his all new, all different comic, and it was like it's like somewhat better than like his ultimate stuff, but like it was still kind of bland. I gotta be honest. His recent run though has been pretty good. I don't know if any of you read that, but uh,
I
if,
read the first issue of it.
yeah. If not, I recommend you guys go to check it out. Like they did a while ago. They did this huge like event, tying the Ultimate Universe back, and it was good. Um,
Listen, man, okay, I don't have a comic book store near me, so I just read it off the internet, which is painful.
yeah. Um. Anyway, um, I don't think we need to. We really need to mention the 2017 show. Like, Miles is in there. He doesn't really do anything, so we're just gonna skip that. Let's talk about Spider Verse.
Show sucks.
The show sucks ass.
It does. Even after 3 seasons, it's still garbage.
Did they cancel it? Please tell me they did.
I think so.
Yeah, they canceled it like a year ago.
Thank God.
The only Spider-Man show we still have is that Disney Junior show,
Oh yeah.
which is like a continuation of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. They couldn't give him another Disney XD show. They just had to start on Disney Junior.
Right.
This is it feels insulting.
It's so weird. Never watching that shit.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways, Spider Verse, which is probably the best thing that's ever happened to Miles, like in anything.
Yep.
Spider-Verse. Yeah, Spider-Verse is what basically made Miles Miles. I consider this to be his first appearance because, or at least his first, like, when it comes to his original characteristics, I feel like Spider-Verse was like the first main place we saw that,
Yeah.
and Spider.
Yeah. They definitely they laid the groundwork for Miles as is now, which as a character, like it's a whole lot better than what came before. Giving him these unique character traits, and I mean he's probably my favorite version of Miles outside of the PlayStation games, but even that though,
I
like
swear to God. Oh my God, Discord hates when I go on rants because they just cut me off like halfway through.
yeah.
Anyways, what I was gonna say was this was like the first time we really saw his actual traits, and it's what inspired many forms of media to come after it, whether it be comics or, God forbid, a cartoon, or I guess also in the Insomniac games, which I'm assuming we're talking about next.
Yeah.
That's a Spider-Verse, man. With the sequel coming out in 2022, right?
I believe
With
so.
Spider-Man.
We know a sequel is happening at some point. I don't think there's been a release date.
They never push it back. There's still a Twitter account, so
That's
that
true.
makes me at least a little bit hopeful.
That's true.
Then again, there's also still a Twitter account for Gambit, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I know at some point they said like April 2022, but I think they pushed that to like later in the year. I'm not exactly sure if they said.
Oh, that'd be so funny if they don't even drop another trailer, they just drop the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably like the one of the two movies I'm probably looking forward to the most next year. That and the Batman, obviously, 'cause,
And Flash.
yeah. Oh, we'll see.
Mainly just because I want to see Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Michael Keaton back as Batman.
I want to see that 7-year-old bastard kick the Joker one more time.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm gonna die of arthritis on it.
What would you both say is your favorite moment from Spider-Verse? Like just the whole movie. It could be like a big moment, a small moment, or whatever it may be.
Does it have to be like a Miles moment or like a moment like from any of the characters?
Say just Miles moment.
Okay. It's actually does that be like a sad moment or a happy moment or an awesome moment? Because I have a few of them in order of each of those.
We're gonna be here a while, folks.
Okay, let me just start with one. Okay, so the sad moment. Okay, him losing Uncle Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay, that would definitely be like the saddest moment that definitely got a tear out of me because that Miles, that's like that's like another father figure to him that he definitely like is fond of, and he definitely like wanted to like spend time with him. But he when he found out the truth that he was the Prowler, and then Kingpin killed him, it just made him want more vengeance. Now, the happy moment is when he's with the times he's with Aaron and he's spray painting, and I love that he introduced Miles to being a graffiti artist,
Mm-hmm.
and he made his own suit
Yeah.
based off another Spider-Man suit. The awesome moment is when he beat the shit out of Kingpin.
Oh yeah. Alter.
So,
Your
uh,
moment, Alter.
I'm thinking, because I haven't seen the movie in a forever. I need to rewatch it, but um, I'd say my favorite moment that I can remember. I guess if this doesn't count as like a Miles moment, then I'll say something else. But the death of Peter was definitely the best part of that, or the most, or at least my favorite part of that film
Oh yeah.
was the death of Peter and how New York was sort of reacting to the death of their hero.
Yeah.
And the song they played was one of the best songs on the soundtrack. Don't at me.
Right.
It was.
Uh, it had Lil Wayne and X on it. Come on, man.
Anti Dollar Sign,
Anyways,
being like,
yeah,
I'm not scared.
Yeah.
you don't have to sing for us,
Damn. Yeah, why you do
But it's either that or whenever he finally makes his suit and he goes out to, I guess, go be. I say it like it's a damn family film. Like, go be with the rest of the spider
Yeah.
people or whatever. But like, whenever he gets his suit and he finally goes out into action, that whole scene is just looks great.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say. It looks cool, man.
Mm. Yeah, that's
That's
I was gonna say that's probably my favorite like part of the whole movie, like the payoff for him, you know, because he's fucking up the entire movie. He's trying to learn how to be Spider-Man, and
fucking dumbass.
yeah, and you know, the moment when he finally does something on his own, you know, he yeah, and I mean, we were gonna mention it because like that's the scene that everybody remembers, and like still just it's a great moment in comic book movies in general. Like I mean, I love it. So yeah. Anyway, can't wait for the sequel, and hope
Japanese Spider-Man.
yes, yes, that's right. He is gonna be in the movie. Um,
Oh god.
I can't wait to see that giant robot kick ass in the movie.
Please. Fuck it. Have Tobey Maguire team. Have it be every live action Spider Man, including the Japanese one and the 70s one.
Oh yeah,
For no damn reason.
it's just there.
You don't even have like the act. Don't even have them say anything. Just have Tom Holland just stay there, not say a word. Andrew Garfield not say a word.
Yeah,
Get Tobey Maguire like reuse an audio line.
right.
He's so stupid.
Just recreate the end game moment just with just with Spider-Man.
Just every Spider-Man possible.
you would, you wouldn't even
The
need
one
to
that
change
showed
much.
up at like the Universal parks.
Yeah. You wouldn't even need to change much. Just put like Spider-Man mask on everybody, and then you know just put it in the movie.
I'd be like,
Have the fucking New York Police Department come in with damn
Spider
like
cop,
Yeah.
with the Spider-Man Halloween costumes on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the right to remain silent like shit.
Yeah. Yeah. There's your movie right there, Sony.
Japanese Spider-Man will be the most OP out of all of them. We're being honest here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Just would kill everybody.
I mean, he's got a fucking
Fuck
mech.
it, bro. Let's get that. Let's get that alternate version of. How'd I say ultimate? Alternative version of Spider-Man, where it was that I think it was an Elseworlds story where it was like Spider-Man, but like his web shooters were guns.
you mean Spider-Man Noir?
It wasn't Spider-Man New War.
Are you talking about Assassin Spider-Man?
Is that what his name is?
I think so.
Spiders.
I don't know motherfucker's
Yeah,
name.
like he
I just
shoots.
see him on
Yeah,
Twitter.
like he shoots a gun out of his wrist or something.
Yeah, I want him in there.
Yeah.
Directed by Zack Snyder.
Bruh.
All right, let's.
That'd be awesome. I don't give a damn what anyone says.
I'd love to see him in that movie. That'd be great.
Just shoot, have Kingpin show back up, and they're doing this like this big speech, and it's gonna be like how on Deadpool where he just shot Ajax. It's gonna be like that. Just shows up as Captain.
That would be funny.
I could have Deadpool show up. That'd be funny too.
Spider Pool.
He's simping all over Spider-Man.
Well, that's just the motherfucker on TikTok.
Exactly. People be shipping Spider-Man and Deadpool. I'm like,
We need to end this damn podcast before we end up going on the whole rant. Anything else we need to discuss, Mr. Marvel DC fan X99?
I was just
Owner
gonna
of 2 YouTube channels.
I was just gonna mention the game as our last point of conversation. You know, like we said earlier, we're not gonna spoil the story. Like, we're probably just gonna talk about like gameplay.
Shit, I haven't even played it.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk gameplay because, like, you know, it's not.
I spent $60 on a paperweight.
Yeah.
we'll talk gameplay. Okay, bet I'll submit 2 words. OP.
Yeah.
That's 2 letters, sir.
Okay, initials. Alright, don't at me.
Not even an initial. It's not a name. It's an abbreviation. You could say overpowered and it'd be the. Oh my god.
Overpower these nuts. How about that? Wait, what?
It's kind of sus, Markel.
Hey, yo, you said that.
Okay. Alright. Marvel, please. Marvel, please. End it.
Last thing, go play Miles. Even if you don't have a PlayStation,
definitely.
buy a PS4, buy a PS5, wherever the fuck
go
you
to
can
the
find
kiosk.
it. Yeah, wherever you can get your hands
Go
on
to
it.
the kiosk at Walmart. Complete the game.
Exactly.
All right, that's gonna be the end
About it.
of the podcast. Yeah, Miles, you know, great character. And he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him, I'd say.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I can see a lot of anyone doing more like Miles fan films, Miles real films, Miles TV series, anything like anyone who even mentions Miles' name in a comic or anything.
Yeah.
Is just giving him more popularity.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Miles is very close to not most comic characters. They have their definitive identity. I feel like Spider-Man could turn into like Green Lantern, where you have multiple people who choose their definitive Green Lantern, or in this case, the definitive Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I feel like Miles is the start of that.
Mm-hmm.
With you know how popular his character is and how much they're expanding upon all of his character arcs, and especially his popularity now. So obviously they're going to be shoving him down our throats for the next like 5 years until you know he finally bombs the box office, and then they're fucked because they had like a whole like 10-year plan mapped out.
Yeah,
it's just the Amazing Spider-Man all over again.
Yeah.
So
that's basically
can't do anything. Really.
That's gonna be comic book movies in general. Like, eventually, these things are just gonna be a dead end to the box office again, and
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like Batman and Robin.
There was a lot.
Well, I guess it was because that fucked up Batman for like 10 years. But...
I'd say he was a huge part of that. Let's say that.
Yeah. I don't feel like the comic movies really started picking up until the Raimi films.
Yeah, I'd say X.
I guess.
say Blade and X-Men definitely like helped.
Blade and X-Men started it. Spider-Man shot it up in the air and kind of stayed there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the DCU fucking dropped off.
it
Went down to a bottomless pit.
It drowned.
Fucking drowned in the lava of hell.
Yeah.
Not even possible.
No, you just melt. You don't drown. You just melt. What the fuck?
Markel, the science guy over here.
It's not science. It's just logic.
Logic. Logical reasoning is part of scientific reasoning. I don't know what the hell.
Anything other to add for Miles before we end the episode?
Anything else need to add before we end up going off topic for an hour?
No, I'm good.
All right. Alter?
Spider-Man.
All right. Last note I want to end on is make some fucking villains for Miles. God damn it. He needs some.
What is love?
All right, we're gonna close out the podcast here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Markel, for joining us, and
No problem.
I had a good time with this episode. It was a nice short.
It went better than most of them because we didn't argue for 6 hours.
And it went better than last week, that's for sure.
I can't remember what happened last week. I just have a dim blur.
Literally, it was just all over the place, and by the time we were finished, we couldn't use the video anyway. So, yeah.
That was like 3 weeks ago, I thought. Or does that happen every week now?
It was a while ago, I think so. At least maybe 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was the weird crossover episode, wasn't it?
Something like that.
No, we just talked about nothing for like 2 hours, and then it didn't even come out good
Yeah, no.
because your mic wasn't even recording.
Yeah.
You dumbass. And so we ended up.
I'm fixing it. I made sure everything was working today. So.
Oh, thank you, God. It was like the third time that happened too. That was when I was just I fucking lost it. I was like, all right, listen here, you piece of shit.
Yeah. So, Marco, what are you working on that you'd like to tell the audience?
Like, as for projects?
Yeah, just projects, stuff like
Still working on betas.
Yeah.
I'm almost finished with my music, finishing up my music and working on more music, but still working on betas.
Nice.
Finishing up music and working on more music.
And I'm working on the films and I'm working on a whole bunch of stuff. So I have to wait for another part 2 of what I'm working on.
Yeah. That's good. Alter, what about you?
Working on a big video essay with Batman Ultra 7 that'll be out sometime. There's a couple retrospectives for different shows and films I'm working on that I don't really want to disclose at this moment.
Okay.
Working on music. Eventually it'll be finished. Keywords eventually. That's about it, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
As for myself, I'm working on the Marvel reviews, and I got the next video. I just got to edit the next video, and hopefully I can get it out by the end of this month. But we'll see what happens. If not the end of this month, then maybe the start of the next. As for other things, I got some other videos that I've been editing, trying to get ready for specific weeks. I want to try and get back to having a video a week, and I got a couple of videos in the pipeline. Also, my 5th anniversary is coming up on YouTube, so I got a couple of videos to celebrate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Next week, I don't even know what the fuck we're doing next week or who's going to be here. So, I guess AJ might be back, and oh boy, it's gonna.
I'm probably gonna be here,
Yeah.
and if I'm not, then that's not really a surprise.
Well, whatever the case, it's probably gonna turn into a shit show. So.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Anyway.
Tune into the next exciting episode of what the fuck's this podcast called again? God damn it! Why did I forget the episode of the pod? Why did I forget what the podcast was called?
Forgot the name.
Oh
man.
my god,
Dude.
the Speaking Nerd podcast. God damn it. The name.
Should have cut it off.
Bro, it took me like 5 episodes of the Pop Culture Pack to know what I was actually talking about.
I should have cut it off right there. The next episode.
I'm not the one who normally closes these things out.
You know, I should cut it off right there. The next.
My own podcast, I forgot the name of. We had to like reshoot the whole thing because I kept going through my notes. Like, what was it called again?
Oh my god. Well, anyway,
So stupid.
yeah, fucking idiot. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Be sure to follow us down below and everything on Twitter, YouTube. I'm sure I'm going to put links for Markel's YouTube and Spotify down there, so be sure to check that out. And yeah, listen to his stuff because I think it's great. But anyway, have a great night. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.
Kill yourself.